Hello guys, welcome to another episode. This is the 8th one of Unscripted. This is the show where we say it as it is and we try as much as possible to let the words just flow without scripting them. So today I want us to be talking about something called bitterness. And we are going to top it up and just erase every other bitterness by trying to talk about forgiveness in the smallest way that I'm going to be able to. So in this next, let's say 7 or 8 minutes that I'm going to be speaking, it's going to be about bitterness and forgiveness. From my own perspective, I believe that bitterness begins when an offense happens. So when one offense happens, it becomes a thorn on the flesh. When another offense happens, it becomes another thorn on the flesh. And when they become so many other thorns, it becomes something that is so painful and turns into hurt. It becomes so, it hurts, it becomes painful. And when it becomes painful and it hurts so much, I believe that so much hurt creates hatred. And then you start hating. And after you hate so much, and you don't know what to do anymore, you become bitter. Speaking from my own story, at one point in life, I became bitter with myself. There are people I was bitter with secretly without even myself knowing. And I had so much unforgiveness in me that it took me a long time to forgive. It took me a long time to like have peace with myself and with some people in my life from my past. So I realized that this thing was going to rob me of my life and I was going to die a young person and let my children live without a mother. And I started asking myself, what would I do? What do I do to get out of this? Because it was eating me from inside. I felt rejected. I felt hateful. I, I didn't know. I felt like I resented myself so much. I had so much unforgiveness for myself. I blamed myself. I judged myself. I called myself names. And even though people used to say you're beautiful, Demba, you're this, to me it never meant anything. It never meant anything to me. And even looking at myself in the mirror and everything, I don't know, I'm just another normal person. And I thank God maybe for that view, because even at that particular moment, even though the enemy was using it against me to make me feel filthy and unworthy and unvaluable, I realized that right now I have turned it into a fuel in a way that I am humble enough to know that these things are things that are there and they come and pass. And as they come and pass, there's nothing you can do about them. So today, if at all you've been offended in your life in any way, and you felt like this thing grew and grew because at one point you're living with this person, or maybe it's your mother, it's somebody that you cannot really go away from, it's your father, it's your uncle, and they keep hurting you and they keep offending you until you get to a point where you start hurting and hating on them. And when this hate grows, this is what makes people not go back home. There are people who ran away from home so many years ago and they cannot go back because of that hate, of the heart. Because you get there are orphans who were mistreated by their guardians. They were mistreated so much until they say, the moment I will get out of this place, I will never come back. And these are people who are living in these towns. And they are lost here, they can't even go home. And they have even no hope and they have nothing else left. They just have to live like each and every morning. And when they die, sometimes it's even hard to even identify them because they don't have any relatives to even come in to look up to them, look out for them. So these things are happening in our generations. There are people who are suffering cancer right now. There are people who are in wheelchairs just because of unforgiveness. They didn't forgive people that hurt them, you know. They hurt people and they were never even able to go ask for forgiveness. There are people who did things, you did mistakes in your life that you thought you can't forgive yourself. And you're like, I can't forgive myself for this. And for a long time, this thing has pinned you down until you don't even know what to do about it. So this is the time that I'm coming with this to just tell you one thing. that the only thing that can get us out of so many troubles in this world, be it health-wise, be it mentally, be it financially, every part of our lives, we have to start by forgiving ourselves. We have to keep forgiving our generations. We have to keep forgiving each other as a nation. We have to start forgiving each other as the tribes of Kenya. We have to forgive each other so that we come to a point where we can start to heal. Because healing will only come if we can forgive. Forgiveness is the antidote of bitterness. So, guys, before the hate turns into bitterness and the bitterness turns into a cancer that can kill you or can take a lot of your money, try as much as possible to ask yourself when you're going through even something tough, who have I not forgiven? Or who am I holding a grudge against? Or who have hurt me? Because sometimes these things hide inside us and you're like, this person I will never forgive. And maybe that is the only limitation that is standing between you and your breakthrough. And it keeps going and for years, because you don't even forgive for years. So the many years you don't forgive are the many years you keep holding on to your blessing, because the moment you forgive, doors open. The moment you forgive, things start happening, and then you're like, I got breakthrough. You got breakthrough, and maybe you even forgave unknowingly. And sometimes maybe it's somebody who was raped in the past. There are people who are carrying all this. There's somebody who, like, you're a divorcee, you are divorced, and you still carry this bitterness with you of what your spouse did or how it ended. You're somebody who maybe have been through so much, until the only thing you can do now is to despise yourself. You're like, you feel you don't have value. You feel like this world is nothing. Sometimes you just need to start forgiving, even yourself. Sometimes you need to just start asking yourself, what can I do better? What did I do? Or what is it? What negativity am I bringing into myself? Because unforgiveness is negativity, and forgiveness is positivity. So sometimes when we want to heal, and become like uh, healed fully, the first thing we have to do is to forgive. I believe that if you go to the hospital, even with a, an unforgiving heart, even the doctors find it hard to treat you. But if you go to the hospital, you're sick, and you have a forgiving heart, I think pia unapona haraka. And I believe too that when you're going through some sort of sickness in your life and you're able to forgive yourself and forgive others in that process, you heal faster. The earlier, the better. Sometimes all we need is just forgiveness. As easy or as hard as it is or it can be. Sometimes you need to just write the names of the people who have hurt you. Write them down, or that person who have hurt you in the past, write them a letter that only you, for your eyes only. And after you write it down, burn it up if you can't mail it. Sometimes you just need to say that name again and again in your head so that you get to forgive that person who you said you will never forgive. Sometimes you have to forget the past and move forward. The only way we can do that is when we forgive. People are living together in houses right now. Spouses, hawasikizani. We need to start forgiving each other. And if you're living with somebody who cannot forgive, then you have to know that that person might be going to the next stage where they get angry and there's nothing they can do but just to hurt you more and more and more. So before it reaches to that point, if you can speak to them about forgiveness, if you can forgive on your side, if you can be open to forgiveness on your side, then there's something you can do. Guys, let's go back to our roots. Let's go back and start forgiving. Let's go back and start bringing our families together. Let's go back as children to our fathers, even if they hurt us, our mothers. Let's go back. and ask for forgiveness, and let's go back and ask for their blessings. Because even in Nairobi, I believe that there are so many people suffering just because of the unforgiveness that they carried from home. Guys, thank you for watching this. I just nearly flow too. I just had to flow the way I could. And that is where today's topic has reached us. So guys, encourage people to forgive. Encourage people to forgive. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. Let's forgive, forgive, forgive. This is my birth month. It's November, and that is the most beautiful month of my life. You know, I just urge you to celebrate it with me by sharing this, liking this, and commenting and saying what you think and what you feel about these topics that I've been bringing to you. Thank you guys for watching. This is your show, Unscripted, and I was your host, Demba. Asanteni sana for watching. May God bless you. Mwah, 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 mwah. I love you all.